At 9:47 a.m. on June 6, 1940, for D-Day, Lieutenant Thomas Fraser eased the throttle of his weathered P-51B Mustang forward and felt the Merlin engine surge beneath him. He lifted off from his English airfield, joining the roar of hundreds of Allied aircraft, guarding the greatest amphibious invasion in human history. Assigned to the 334th Fighter Squadron of the famed 4th Fighter Group, Fraser flew a Mustang called Jerry, an olive drab machine that carried 4.50 caliber Browning guns and drew life from a Packard-built Rolls-Royce Merlin, delivering nearly 1,500 horsepower. In the slipstream of dozens of fighters cutting through the sky toward France, Fraser had no reason to suspect that within a few hours, his perfectly good Mustang would be sitting almost untouched in a field behind German lines, and that within days, German test pilots would strap into the cockpit and fly it, rewriting everything the Luftwaffe thought it knew about the aircraft that was decimating its fighter force. Flying patrol at about 12,000 feet, Fraser noticed the first hints of trouble, barely perceptible tremors in the engine, then a sudden lurch in the gauges, oil pressure dropping, coolant temperature spiking. He instantly recognized the signs. The Merlin was a masterpiece, but also a delicate one. Its radiators and coolant lines were vulnerable, and even a pin-sized leak could turn the engine into a furnace within minutes. Fraser throttled back, broke formation, and began searching the Normandy countryside below a patchwork of fields, hedgerows, and narrow country lanes now filled with retreating German soldiers responding to the chaos of D-Day. With the engine dying fast, he spotted a long, flat field and committed to landing. Gear down, flaps down, wind whizzing over the wings, he brought Jerry in for a controlled glide and made a remarkably soft landing for an aircraft moments away from overheating itself to destruction. The Mustang sat intact, no crumpled wings, no shattered frame, only an engine ruined by overheating. Fraser climbed out, tried to flee across the fields, but German soldiers captured him within hours. His Mustang remained in that field for less than 6 hours before a specialized Luftwaffe salvage unit arrived, teams trained specifically to recover Allied aircraft before they could be destroyed by roaming American fighters. Methodically, they drained the tanks, secured the cockpit, posted guards, and prepared the nearly pristine P-51 for transport. By dawn, Fraser's aircraft was already on a rail car, bound for Rechlin, the Luftwaffe's central flight research facility, a place where the fate of captured aircraft was decided and where Germany tested everything from prototypes to enemy fighters. Rechlin had been the Luftwaffe's BATING analytical heart since 1936, a sprawling compound of workshops, hangars, barracks, engineering offices, and long concrete runways where Germany's best technical minds examined every aircraft ever captured or conceived. Among its elite test pilots was Hans-Werner Lerche, a brilliant, analytical aviator in his early 30s with training not just in flying but in engineering. He had flown more than 120 aircraft types including Spitfires, P-47 Thunderbolts, P-38 Lightnings, even British heavy bombers. Lerche had never flown combat, not because he lacked skill, but because Germany considered him too valuable. His job was to fly, evaluate, and report findings that would shape Luftwaffe tactics and engineering decisions. When Fraser's Mustang arrived on June 8, 1944, barely 2 days after D-Day, it was treated like a prize specimen. Orders came down that it must be flight-ready in 48 hours. A direct signal of how badly Germany needed first-hand data on the P-51, the fighter that had shattered the Luftwaffe's numerical and technological advantage in only half a year. Mechanics immediately repaired the coolant leak, inspected the Merlin engine, tested hydraulic systems, replaced hoses, painted the underside bright yellow to prevent German gunners from firing on it, added black German crosses, and designated the aircraft T9+HK. By June 10th, it was ready. Lerche approached the Mustang with an engineer's fascination, admiring the laminar flow wings, flush rivets, elegantly clean aerodynamic surfaces, and cockpit space far larger than that of a Bf 109, in which pilots often felt cramped and stiff. He climbed in, rolled to the runway, and opened the throttle. The Mustang lunged forward with surprising smoothness, climbing with an ease that instantly impressed him. At altitude, he began pushing the aircraft through a series of technical maneuvers, rolls, loops, immolments, split test maneuvers, high-speed dives, climbing spirals, and hard brake turns. What shocked him most was how forgiving the Mustang was. A BF-109 or FW-190 would snap violently if mishandled. Even experienced pilots could lose control. But the Mustang remained composed, agile, balanced, and predictable. At 23,000 feet, fully powered, it reached 416 miles per hour faster than German intelligence had ever estimated. Lerche landed after his first flight and declared the Mustang a truly unique aircraft, over for additional flights. He expanded his assessments: excellent high-altitude performance, tremendous endurance, incredible dive stability, and maneuverability on par with or superior to Germany's best late-war fighters, the Bf-109G10 and the FW-190D9. Its limitations were few: the sensitive coolant system, and instability when the aft fuselage fuel tank was full, making it tail-heavy. Lerche's comprehensive report swept through the Luftwaffe, shattering myths that German pilots still clung to. The Rosarius Wanderzirkus, the traveling circus, began touring the Mustang across German air bases, demonstrating it alongside captured Spitfires and Lightnings so pilots could learn what they were really up against. Luftwaffe pilots watched the Mustang outroll the FW-190, match the Bf-109 in turns, and outrun both in level flight. For the first time, many realized that Germany's technical edge had evaporated. Worse, the Allies were producing Mustangs by the thousands, while Germany struggled to build a fraction of that number. By mid-1944, Germany's pilot ranks were collapsing, veterans killed faster than they could be replaced, fuel reserves shrinking to almost nothing, and new pilots being sent into combat with as little as 70 hours of flight time. Against this backdrop, the P-51 Mustang became a symbol of inevitability. In March 1945, interrogations of captured Luftwaffe pilots revealed unanimous respect for the Mustang. They called it the best American fighter: fast, agile, heavily armed, long-ranged, and unforgiving to anyone who underestimated it. Some admitted openly that they would only attempt to escape a Mustang if they had a massive head start. Others said that only the most experienced German pilots would even dare to turn with one. By the final months of the war, the Luftwaffe was practically broken aircraft destroyed on the ground, new fighters without fuel, surviving pilots facing impossible odds. Hans-Werner Lerche survived the conflict, was interrogated by U.S. officials, and later praised the Mustang as one of the best aircraft he had ever flown. He went on to write his memoir, Luftwaffe Test Pilot, preserving his evaluations for future generations. Lieutenant Thomas Fraser also survived the war, liberated from captivity in 1945, and only years later discovered that his lost Mustang had become one of the most valuable captured aircraft the Germans ever tested. The aircraft, designated T-9HK, was eventually lost in December 1944, its final fate uncertain, its impact undeniable. In the end, the P-51 Mustang became far more than a fast or beautiful machine. It changed the air war because it combined unparalleled speed, extraordinary range, aerodynamic efficiency, lethal firepower, and unprecedented mass production at precisely the moment the Allies needed superiority in the skies. Designed in only 100 days, transformed by the Merlin engine, and produced in over 15,000 units, the Mustang escorted bombers deep into Germany, shredded the Luftwaffe's remaining strength, and ensured the skies over Europe belonged to the Allies. Through the intertwined experiences of Thomas Fraser and Hans-Werner Lerche, the story of the P-51 Mustang emerges as one of aviation's most remarkable and decisive chapters in World War II history.